Hi, my name is Zad Siadatan. I'm the CEO of Connect UK Group. Today we're going to be talking about CGT, capital gains tax on second properties. The main reason that we ought to know why capital gains is very important in buying second property is that because when you buy a property and you earn an income out of it, that's fantastic, that's very good. However, when it comes to selling it, you have to give a percentage of your profit back to the government, and that is called capital gains tax. For the lower income bracket, capital gains tax is set at 18%, and for the higher tax bracket, it is set at 28%. So what that means is that whatever profit you've made on your assets, that's the price you've bought it to the price that you've sold it minus any other expenses, you will pay 18% of the profit. And similar, when you're in a higher tax bracket, you pay 28% of your profit. Will capital gains tax increase in coming months or even years? Undoubtedly, yes. As you know, we are in middle of pandemic right now. It's 2021 and the budget has just been released. There was no mention of the capital gains tax being raised at this stage. However, it is inevitable that the capital gains tax, which is called CGT, will be increased in the next budget or even the budget after that, because the money that the government had spent on furlough money and every other handout that the government has done so far needs to be recouped. And one of the main ways one of the best ways, should we say, of raising fund or capital for the government for all these IOUs is raising the taxes. And what better than hitting the second homeowners or even people that have several properties, and when it comes to selling it, and that's where they will raise billions of pounds in years to come. Now the question will be, how much are they going to raise it to, and what will be the consequences? Well, let's talk about how much will they raise it to. My prediction would be that they'll probably raise it up to 20% for the lower tax bracket and up to 40% for the higher tax bracket. That's what it used to be back in the day. We're talking many years ago. It used to be 40% across the board, but then obviously the government decided to drop it down to 18 and 20% respectively. But I think it will go up to, my prediction again, 20 to 40%, 20% for the lower and 40% for the higher tax bracket. How will this impact the industry, the second, should we say, landlords who want to own a second or a third property? How will this impact them? Well, greatly. I would say that there will be. Remember, we've had, over the past decade or so, we've had many accidental landlords. Now, what is accidental landlords? They're the landlords that basically had no intention of becoming a landlord. They owned the property and they decided to take equity out of their property and buy another property to go and live in and rent out the main one that they were living in. Now, they are accidental landlords. They're the ones that are really going to feel the pinch because they're going to sell, they're going to pay the taxes. Now, the impact will be that, there are other landlords where they had some spare cash, some spare money, and they decided, why don't we just put it in property because it's safe? Well, they're the people, they're the should we say, majority that will think twice about putting their money into property for a second home, and they may invest it in other assets like cars or paintings, and they don't levy CGT at this stage. So they'll find other assets to park their money rather than property because of the tax implications and the CGT that they're going to be hit by. What can we offset to reduce our, should we say, CGT liability? Basically, there are several ways of doing it, but one of the main ways is that during the period of you owning the property, you've got to make sure that you offset any structural work that you've done to the property. You keep the receipts and you offset that against the profit that you've made. We're talking about any extensions or any kitchens and bathrooms. It really depends, because you can either offset it against your income tax as you go along, or you can offset it against your CGT. I would, it's half a dozen and it's in six of the other, but I would say that the more structural work that you've done to the property, you can reclaim these. The stamp duty, the money that you've paid for the solicitors to start with, you can gather all these, and then that comes off your profit at the end when you sell the property. How would the hike change the market in general? I don't think it will change it drastically, because what happens is that you are going to get landlords that think twice about getting involved, and then you've got other people who own companies. So basically, where the accidental landlords, where the people that are thinking, well, I'll buy one or two property, I'll park my money in one or two property and that's it, they are going to go out of this industry. But you're going to get institutions, you're going to get landlords who will set up a company, and then they will want to own 10, 20, 30 properties within that company. And that is totally a different entity altogether. That becomes a company. Then you're talking about corporation tax, not a CGT. You're talking about directorship. So the whole system changes. The playing field changes. But I don't think, as far as the market is concerned, I don't think we're going to have any less properties coming to the market. In fact, we're going to have better quality properties coming on the market, because we're going to have professional landlords rather than accidental landlords. My name is Zad Siadatan, CEO of Connect UK Group, and thank you for listening.